Commander Park Jin-woo pressed his palm against the cool metal surface of the observation deck window. Through the reinforced transparent aluminum, Earth hung like a blue marble against the black void of space. The third planet from this small yellow star looked so peaceful from here, but the intercepted transmissions told a different story. "Another signal incoming, Commander," called out Lieutenant Kim So-rae from her station. Her 6 slender fingers danced across the holographic controls as she fine-tuned the reception array. Park walked over to the main display screen where the transmission was beginning to play. The image flickered for a moment before clearing to show what appeared to be humanoid creatures engaged in fierce combat. Massive mechanical warriors towered over a destroyed cityscape, their metal bodies gleaming as they fired brilliant beams of energy at each other. "Freeze the image," Park commanded. He studied the scene carefully. The mechanical beings moved with incredible speed and precision. Their weapons seemed far more advanced than anything in the Zelethi military arsenal. "How many similar transmissions have we intercepted this week?" 47, sir," replied communications specialist Cho Do-eun. "All showing similar combat scenarios with these mechanical warriors." Intelligence Officer Lee Min-ho approached the display, his purple skin darkening with concern. "Commander, look at this particular sequence. The mechanical suits appear to transform from vehicle mode into humanoid configuration in mere seconds. Our engineers estimate such technology would require at least 3 centuries to develop from our current capabilities." The transmission continued playing. The view shifted to show what appeared to be young humans inside cockpits, their hands gripping control sticks as they maneuvered the giant machines. The pilot on screen shouted something in the human language before his robot fired a massive energy cannon that destroyed an entire city block. "Pause there," Park said, pointing at the screen. "Enhance that section." The image zoomed in on the pilot's face. Despite being engaged in what appeared to be deadly warfare, the young human was smiling. His expression showed excitement rather than fear or determination. "This makes no sense," muttered analyst Han Ji-min from her workstation. "Why would their warriors display such emotion during combat? Are they trained from childhood to enjoy violence?" Park felt a chill run through his body. The Zelethi had encountered many species during their expansion across the galaxy, but none had shown such apparent comfort with warfare. Most civilizations viewed combat as a necessary evil at best. These humans seemed to treat it as entertainment. "Continue the transmission," he ordered. The scene changed to show aerial vehicles engaged in complex dogfights above a mountain range. The aircraft moved in ways that defied known physics, spinning and diving at impossible angles while firing streams of colorful energy bolts. The pilots inside were shouting excitedly, their voices filled with what could only be described as joy. "Computer, analyze the energy signatures of those weapons," Park commanded. Analysis complete. The ship's artificial intelligence responded in its calm, mechanical voice. "Energy output exceeds Class 5 military specifications. Estimated destructive capability, sufficient to level a medium-sized city." The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. Weapons specialist Yang Su-bin stepped forward, her green eyes wide with disbelief. "Commander, our most advanced destroyers carry Class 4 weaponry. These humans appear to have surpassed our military technology by at least 1 full classification level." The transmission shifted again, this time showing ground-based combat. Human soldiers in colorful armor were fighting against what appeared to be alien invaders. But instead of conventional weapons, these humans were firing energy beams from their bare hands, creating explosions that dwarfed anything in the Zelethi military handbook. "Impossible," whispered Tactical Officer Yoon Tae-ho. "Organic beings cannot generate that level of destructive energy without technological assistance." But the evidence was right there on the screen. Humans were channeling raw energy through their bodies, transforming into more powerful forms, and commanding forces that bordered on the supernatural. Some appeared to control elements like fire and lightning, while others seemed capable of teleportation and flight. Park watched in growing alarm as the transmission showed a group of human children, none appearing older than 12 Earth years, commanding their own mechanical warriors in what looked like a training exercise. The young pilots executed complex battle maneuvers with the skill of seasoned veterans. "They train their offspring from childhood," he said quietly. "This is not just a militaristic society. This is a species that has weaponized their entire population, including their young." Navigation Officer Lim Ji-woo looked up from her console. "Commander, I'm detecting similar transmissions from multiple points across the planet. These combat scenarios appear to be broadcast simultaneously to the entire population." "Propaganda broadcasts," Park concluded grimly. They're conditioning their people for warfare on a planetary scale. The current transmission ended, but another began immediately. This one showed humans with the ability to summon creatures from what appeared to be pocket dimensions. The summoned beings engaged in elaborate battles while their human partners shouted encouragement and tactical commands. "Sir," said Monitor Specialist Seo Kyungmi, "I'm reading massive energy spikes during these summoning sequences. The dimensional manipulation technology required for such feats is theoretical even in our most advanced research facilities." Park stepped back from the display, his mind racing. Every transmission they intercepted painted the same picture. Humanity was a species that had developed military technology centuries ahead of the galactic standard, trained their population from childhood for combat, and possessed abilities that bordered on the impossible. "Open a secure channel to Confederation Command," he ordered. "Priority Alpha classification." "Channel open, sir." Park took a deep breath before speaking. "This is Commander Park Jin-woo aboard Survey Vessel Silent Observer. I am recommending immediate reclassification of species designation human to Priority Threat Level 7. Request emergency deployment of 3rd Fleet to Sol System for preemptive containment action." He paused, looking once more at the peaceful blue planet outside the window. "These beings represent a clear and present danger to galactic stability. We cannot allow this warrior species to develop interstellar travel capabilities." As the transmission was sent across the vast distance to Zealoty Command, none of the crew realized they had just declared war on a planet whose children watched cartoons on Saturday mornings. 3 weeks had passed since Commander Park Jin-woo first classified Earth as a major threat. The surveillance vessel Silent Observer maintained its hidden position behind the moon, constantly intercepting human transmissions. With each passing day, the evidence against humanity grew more disturbing. Communications specialist Cho Do-eun sat hunched over her workstation, dark circles under her eyes from countless hours of analysis. She had barely slept since discovering the humans' latest military broadcasts. The coffee substitute in her cup had long gone cold. "Commander," she called out, her voice tight with worry. "You need to see this immediately." Park hurried over to her station where a new transmission was playing on the monitor. The screen showed what appeared to be a massive battle taking place in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Human warriors were jumping between different realities, each one containing its own set of enemies and challenges. "Freeze it there," Park commanded, pointing at a particular sequence. "Are those humans actually manipulating space and time?" "It appears so, sir," Do-eun replied, her hands trembling slightly as she worked the controls. "Watch this section carefully. The human fighter creates what looks like a tear in reality itself, then steps through to attack enemies from behind." The crew gathered around the display in stunned silence. The tactical implications were beyond anything they had imagined. If humans could manipulate dimensional barriers at will, no defense system in the galaxy would be effective against them. Intelligence Chief Yang Soo-bin pulled up additional data on her portable screen. "Commander, we have intercepted 43 similar transmissions in the past week alone. The humans appear to have multiple specialist units trained in dimensional warfare." Park felt his stomach tighten. Dimensional manipulation was theoretical science for the Zealoty. Their best researchers had barely begun to understand the basic principles, yet these humans seemed to use such technology as casually as breathing. "Continue the analysis," he ordered. "What else have we discovered?" Analyst Han Ji-min stepped forward with her report tablet. "Sir, we have also detected transmissions showing humans who possess what can only be described as supernatural abilities. They can control the elements without any visible technology." A new transmission began playing on the main screen. It showed a group of human teenagers standing in what appeared to be a training facility. One of them raised his hand and created a ball of fire that floated in his palm. Another teenager gestured toward a wall, and ice crystals spread across its surface in seconds. "Impossible," whispered weapons specialist Lee Min-ho. "Organic matter cannot generate such precise elemental control without extensive mechanical augmentation." But the evidence was undeniable. The human on screen threw his fireball across the room, where it exploded with enough force to melt metal. The ice-wielding human created a barrier thick enough to stop the explosion completely. Neither showed any sign of mechanical assistance or fatigue. "Computer, analyze the energy readings from these displays," Park commanded. Analysis complete. The ship's artificial intelligence responded. Energy output consistent with Class 6 military weapons. No technological source detected. Tactical Officer Yoon Tae-ho looked up from his console with a pale expression. "Commander, Class 6 weapons are restricted to our largest battleships. These humans are generating that level of power from their own bodies. The transmission shifted to show what appeared to be a school setting. Human children, some barely old enough to walk, were practicing similar abilities under the supervision of adult instructors. Tiny humans were lifting objects with their minds, creating small lightning bolts with their fingers, and even levitating themselves off the ground. They start training in infancy, Park said quietly. This is systematic military conditioning from birth. Navigator Lim Jiwoo accessed the ship's database and began cross-referencing the human abilities with known galactic species. Sir, I have searched our entire xenobiology database. No recorded species has ever demonstrated this combination of technological advancement and organic energy manipulation. What about their numbers? Park asked. How many of these enhanced humans exist? Surveillance specialist Nam Hyjin looked up from her monitoring equipment. Based on transmission patterns, these training programs appear to be broadcast across their entire planet simultaneously. We estimate the human population to be approximately 7 billion individuals. The bridge fell silent. 7 billion enhanced warriors with advanced technology and supernatural abilities. The number was staggering. The entire Zelathi military consisted of fewer than 50 million troops across all branches of service. There is something else, added cultural analyst Seo Kyungmi. The humans appear to organize themselves into specialized battle groups. Some focus on mechanical warfare, others on elemental control, and still others on creature summoning. A new transmission began showing humans who commanded what appeared to be living weapons. Small creatures emerged from handheld devices and grew to enormous size, breathing fire and generating electrical storms on command. The human trainers issued complex tactical orders to these beings, who responded with perfect obedience. Biological warfare specialists, Park concluded. They have weaponized entire ecosystems. Monitor Kang Do-hyun pulled up a tactical display showing Earth's position relative to known Zelathi colonies. Commander, if humanity develops interstellar travel capabilities with their current military advancement, they could conquer the entire outer rim within a standard year. Park studied the star chart with growing dread. Earth sat in a perfect strategic position to threaten multiple Zelathi trade routes and colony systems. A species with such advanced capabilities could devastate their civilization before the Confederation could mount an effective defense. Open an emergency channel to Fleet Command, he ordered. Maximum priority encryption. Channel established, sir. Park straightened his uniform and faced the communication array. Fleet Admiral Kim, this is Commander Park aboard Silent Observer. I am requesting immediate deployment of the entire 2nd and 3rd Fleets to Sol System. The human threat level has escalated beyond our worst projections. He paused, choosing his words carefully. These beings possess military technology that exceeds our own, supernatural abilities we cannot explain, and a population trained for warfare from birth. They represent an existential threat to our entire civilization. Furthermore, he continued, their training broadcasts suggest they are preparing for large-scale interstellar conflict. We may already be too late for containment. I recommend we consider this a code black scenario. As the transmission ended, Park looked out at the small blue planet that had become the source of his nightmares. Somewhere down there, 7 billion enhanced warriors were preparing for what could only be galactic conquest. The Zelathi had discovered humanity just in time to witness their own doom. Junior observer Nam Hyjin had always been the type of person who noticed small details that others missed. While her fellow crew members focused on the impressive displays of human military power, she found herself bothered by inconsistencies that seemed unimportant to everyone else. She sat alone in the observation lounge during her off-duty hours, reviewing transmission logs on her personal data pad. The rest of the crew was either sleeping or discussing battle strategies for the incoming fleet, but Hyjin could not shake the feeling that something was wrong with their analysis. Computer, display transmission log Alpha 77, she said quietly, not wanting to disturb anyone. The holographic display showed one of the human combat scenarios they had intercepted 3 days earlier. It featured mechanical warriors engaged in fierce battle across a cityscape. Hyjin watched the sequence carefully, then frowned. Computer, display transmission log Alpha 77 from 2 weeks ago. A second hologram appeared next to the first. Hyjin's eyes widened as she compared the two displays side by side. The battle sequences were identical. Not similar but exactly the same, down to the smallest detail. Computer, search all transmission logs for matching sequences. The computer processed her request for several minutes before responding. Search complete. Found identical sequences in 47% of intercepted transmissions. Pattern suggests regular repetition every 168 Earth hours. Hygiene's breathing quickened. Military transmissions did not repeat with such precise timing. She had studied enough alien warfare broadcasts to know that real combat was chaotic and unpredictable. These patterns suggested something entirely different. Computer, analyze transmission metadata for any embedded information. While the computer worked, Hygiene pulled up more transmission logs. She began noticing other strange details. The human warriors always seemed remarkably cheerful during combat. They shouted enthusiastic battle cries rather than tactical commands. Most disturbing of all, nobody ever seemed to actually get hurt despite the massive explosions and energy blasts. Analysis complete, the computer announced. Metadata contains embedded commercial segments advertising consumable products and recreational items. Target demographic appears to be juvenile humans aged 6 to 12 Earth years. Hygiene nearly dropped her data pad. Commercial segments meant these were not military communications at all. They were something else entirely, something the Zealoty had completely misunderstood. Computer, access Zealoty database on alien entertainment formats. The database was small. Most species in the galaxy had simple forms of entertainment, usually involving music or basic storytelling. Nothing like what they were seeing from Earth. Computer, compare human transmissions to known recreational broadcast patterns from other species. Comparison complete. Human transmissions match recreational entertainment format with 94.7% accuracy. Hygiene felt her world shift. Everything they had interpreted as evidence of human military superiority was actually entertainment. The mechanical warriors, the supernatural abilities, the dimensional manipulation, all of it was fiction created for the amusement of human children. She needed to tell Commander Park immediately, but she also needed more evidence. Her fellow officers had spent weeks building their analysis of human military capabilities. They would not accept her discovery without overwhelming proof. Computer, analyze the impossible physics displayed in human transmissions. Compare to known scientific principles. Analysis reveals multiple violations of established physical laws. Energy conservation, thermodynamics, and gravitational principles are consistently ignored. Conclusion, depicted events are not physically possible. That was the proof she needed. Real military technology, no matter how advanced, still had to follow the basic laws of physics. The human transmissions showed events that could only exist in fiction. Hygiene ran from the observation lounge toward the bridge, her data pad clutched tightly in her hands. She found Commander Park reviewing fleet deployment strategies with his senior officers. "Commander," she said breathlessly, interrupting the meeting, "I need to report critical intelligence about the human transmissions." Park looked annoyed at the interruption. "Observer Hygiene, we are preparing for a potential war. Unless this concerns immediate threat assessment, it can wait." "Sir, that is exactly what this concerns," she insisted. "We are not monitoring military communications. We are intercepting their children's entertainment programs." The bridge fell completely silent. Every officer turned to stare at her with expressions ranging from confusion to disbelief. "Explain yourself," Park said slowly. Hygiene activated her data pad and projected her findings onto the main display. The transmission patterns repeat every 168 hours. The metadata contains commercial advertisements for toys and food products marketed to children. The physics displayed in the combat sequences violate multiple natural laws. Intelligence Chief Yang Su-bin shook his head. "That is impossible. We have observed advanced military technology and supernatural combat abilities." "No, sir," Hygiene replied firmly. "We have observed fictional stories created to entertain human children. Everything we interpreted as evidence of military superiority is actually imagination." She pulled up one of the transmissions showing a human teenager commanding a giant robot. "Look at this sequence again, but consider it as entertainment rather than military intelligence. The human pilot is not a soldier in training. He is a fictional character in a story designed to excite and inspire young viewers." Communications specialist Cho Doon studied the data with growing amazement. "The energy readings we detected, the dimensional manipulation, the elemental control, none of it is real?" "It is real as entertainment," Hygiene explained. "But it exists only in the imagination of human storytellers. They create fictional worlds where impossible things happen for the enjoyment of their children." Tactical Officer Yoon Tae-ho looked stunned. Are you telling us that humans possess the technology to create such detailed fictional scenarios for recreational purposes? Yes, sir. They call them cartoons or animated programs. The humans use advanced computer graphics and storytelling techniques to create elaborate fantasy adventures. Commander Park sank into his chair, the weight of the revelation hitting him fully. We have mobilized 2 entire fleets to attack a planet whose children watch fictional stories about giant robots. The bridge crew stood in shocked silence as the implications sank in. They had misinterpreted humanity's greatest strength not as military power, but as unlimited imagination. The humans were not preparing for galactic conquest. They were dreaming of adventures among the stars, creating stories to inspire their young to reach for impossible dreams. Computer, cancel the emergency fleet deployment request, Park said quietly. Request cancelled, sir. Hygiene looked around at her fellow officers, all of whom seemed dazed by the discovery. Commander, I believe we need to completely reassess our understanding of human civilization. Park nodded slowly. Indeed we do, Observer Hygiene. Indeed we do. The revelation that humanity's supposed military broadcasts were actually children's entertainment created chaos aboard the Silent Observer. Commander Park Jin-woo called an emergency meeting in the main conference room, but the discussion quickly turned into something resembling organized confusion. Captain Yoon Tae-ho, the ship's xenopsychologist, paced back and forth across the room while gesturing wildly with his 4 arms. His purple skin had turned a darker shade, which among the Zealothi indicated extreme mental distress. This makes absolutely no sense, he declared to the assembled officers. Why would any species create violent fictional content for their offspring? Our own civilization abandoned such practices over 2,000 years ago when we discovered the psychological damage it caused. Cultural analyst Seo Kyung-mi pulled up several human transmission examples on her portable display. Captain, look at these programs more carefully. Yes, they contain combat scenarios, but examine the underlying themes. The fictional characters consistently fight to protect innocent people, defend their homes, and preserve peace. But they are still depicting violence as entertainment, argued Intelligence Chief Yang Soo-bin. In our society, exposing children to such imagery would be considered a form of abuse. How can humans justify traumatizing their young with stories of warfare and destruction? Observer Nam Hygiene, who had discovered the truth about the transmissions, tried to explain what she had learned. From what I can determine, human children do not view these programs as traumatic. The combat sequences appear to excite and inspire them rather than frighten them. Monitor specialist Lim Ji-woo shook her head in bewilderment. That is even more disturbing. A species that conditions its children to enjoy violence from an early age must have deeply aggressive tendencies built into their psychology. Not necessarily, interrupted surveillance specialist Kang Do-hyun. I have been analyzing human behavioral patterns during these broadcasts. The children who watch these programs do not become more violent in their daily activities. If anything, they seem to become more cooperative and helpful after viewing stories about heroes who protect others. This statement created even more confusion among the crew. Weapons specialist Lee Min-ho stood up from his chair, his green eyes flashing with frustration. That contradicts everything we know about psychological conditioning, he said. Repeated exposure to violent imagery should increase aggressive behavior, not decrease it. These humans appear to defy basic principles of mental development. Commander Park had been listening to the debate in silence, but finally decided to intervene. Perhaps we are approaching this from the wrong perspective. Observer Hygiene, you have studied these transmissions more carefully than anyone else. What is your assessment of human psychology based on their entertainment choices? Hygiene activated her data pad and began displaying various human programs on the main conference screen. Commander, I believe humans use fictional violence as a way to explore moral concepts safely. Look at this program about mechanical warriors. The story teaches children about friendship, teamwork, and sacrifice for the greater good. She switched to another transmission showing humans with supernatural abilities. This program focuses on a group of young heroes who use their powers to help others and protect their community. The combat sequences are not the main point of the story. They are simply the method used to create dramatic tension while teaching important lessons. Tactical Officer Cho Do-eun studied the displays with growing fascination. Are you suggesting that humans have found a way to use fictional conflict as an educational tool? Exactly, Hygiene replied. They create impossible scenarios where good characters face difficult challenges, then show how courage, determination, and cooperation can overcome any obstacle. The violence serves the story, not the other way around. Captain Yoon Tae-ho stopped pacing and stared at the screen. But the technology they depict in these stories surpasses our own scientific capabilities. Giant transforming robots, dimensional manipulation, energy projection from organic tissue. How do they imagine such advanced concepts? That may be the most remarkable aspect of human culture, Hygiene said excitedly. Their capacity for imagination appears to be unlimited. They envision technologies and abilities that may not even be physically possible, but they do so with incredible detail and consistency. Navigation Officer Han Ji-min pulled up star charts showing Earth's position relative to other inhabited systems. This raises an important question. If humans can imagine interstellar travel, advanced robotics, and energy manipulation, how long before they develop the real technology to match their fiction? The conference room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. Humanity might not currently possess the military capabilities they had feared, but their entertainment suggested they were already dreaming of such possibilities. There is something else, added communications specialist Yang Soo-bin. I have detected thousands of different fictional universes in human broadcast. They do not limit themselves to one type of story or one vision of the future. Their creativity seems boundless. She displayed examples of various human entertainment programs. Some showed space exploration and peaceful contact with alien species. Others depicted magical worlds where problems were solved through friendship and understanding. Still others imagined technological utopias where all beings lived in harmony. They dream of everything, Park observed quietly. War and peace, magic and science, isolation and galactic community. Their minds seem capable of envisioning any possibility. Monitor analyst Seo Kyung-mi made another discovery. Commander, many of their programs actually depict scenarios where humans encounter alien species peacefully. They appear to fantasize about joining a larger galactic community rather than conquering it. This revelation stunned the assembled officers. They had assumed that any species creating military fiction must have aggressive intentions toward other civilizations. But human entertainment suggested the opposite, a deep desire to explore space and meet other intelligent beings as friends rather than enemies. So we have a species, Park summarized slowly, that uses fictional violence to teach positive values to their children, possesses unlimited imagination for technological possibilities, and dreams of peaceful contact with alien civilizations. Yes, sir, Hygiene confirmed. And we nearly declared war on them because we misunderstood their bedtime stories. The irony was not lost on anyone in the room. The Zelathi Confederation had mobilized 2 fleets to attack a planet whose children watched cartoons about friendship and heroism. I think, Park said finally, we need to completely reconsider our approach to humanity. Commander Park Jin-woo stood before the large observation window, watching Earth slowly rotate beneath layers of white clouds. The small blue planet looked peaceful and innocent, nothing like the military threat he had imagined just days earlier. Behind him, his crew worked quietly at their stations, preparing for what would be the most important decision in Zelathi history. Observer Hygiene, he called softly. Continue your analysis of human entertainment broadcasts. I want a complete cultural profile before we proceed with any contact attempts. Hygiene nodded and returned to her workstation. Over the past week, she had become the ship's expert on human imagination. Every day brought new discoveries about the remarkable creativity of this strange species. Commander, she reported after reviewing the latest intercepted transmissions. I have found something extraordinary. The humans have created entertainment programs that specifically focus on education and scientific exploration. On the main display screen, she showed a transmission featuring animated human characters traveling through space, visiting different planets, and learning about astronomy, physics, and biology. The characters taught young viewers about the solar system, the nature of stars, and the possibility of life on other worlds. They use the same storytelling techniques for education as they do for adventure stories, Hygiene explained. Human children learn about science through exciting fictional journeys among the stars. Science Officer Kang Do-hyun looked up from his analysis station with amazement. These programs contain remarkably accurate scientific information, despite being presented as entertainment. Their understanding of astrophysics and planetary geology matches our own knowledge in many areas. Cultural specialist Cho Do-eun had been studying different types of human entertainment throughout the night. Commander, I have also discovered programs that focus entirely on cooperation and kindness. Humans create stories where characters solve problems through friendship, understanding, and peaceful communication rather than conflict. She displayed several transmissions showing human characters helping each other, caring for injured animals, protecting their environment and welcoming strangers into their communities. The stories emphasized compassion, empathy, and the importance of working together. Look at this program, she continued, switching to another transmission. It shows human children from different cultures learning about each other's traditions and discovering that they have more similarities than differences. The entire purpose is to promote tolerance and acceptance. Intelligence analyst Yang Su-bin had been researching human space exploration fiction. Sir, many of their entertainment programs depict humans making peaceful contact with alien civilizations. They consistently portray first contact scenarios where communication and understanding lead to friendship and cooperation. Park studied the examples she presented. Human stories about meeting aliens almost always focused on overcoming language barriers, sharing knowledge, and building relationships across species lines. Even when the fictional aliens initially appeared threatening, the human characters worked to find peaceful solutions. They dream of joining a galactic community, Park realized. Their children grow up imagining themselves exploring space, meeting alien species and learning about different cultures across the galaxy. Tactical Officer Lee Min-ho had been analyzing human technological aspirations through their fiction. Commander, the mechanical warriors and advanced technologies depicted in their entertainment programs represent their hopes for future scientific achievement. They are not military preparations but visions of what they hope to create. The giant robots, the dimensional travel, the energy manipulation abilities, added weapons specialist Lim Ji-woo. All of it represents human dreams of transcending their current limitations through technological advancement and personal growth. Park began to understand the full scope of what they had discovered. Humanity was not a militaristic species preparing for galactic conquest. They were dreamers and storytellers, using their unlimited imagination to inspire their children to reach for impossible goals. Observer Nam, he said, what is your assessment of human readiness for interstellar contact? Hygiene considered the question carefully. Sir, based on their entertainment content, humans appear to have been psychologically preparing for contact with alien species for decades. Their children grow up expecting that other intelligent life exists in the universe. They would likely view our arrival as the fulfillment of their greatest dreams rather than as a threat. Navigation Officer Han Ji-min had been monitoring human space exploration efforts. Commander, I have detected primitive spacecraft launches from Earth's surface. Humans are already taking their first steps toward becoming a spacefaring civilization. Their current technology is approximately 50 years behind our own, but their rate of advancement suggests they will develop interstellar travel capabilities within the next century. Which means, Park concluded, we can either wait for them to find us, or we can make contact on our own terms while building a foundation for peaceful relations. Communications specialist Seo Kyung-mi looked up from her monitoring station. Sir, I have been studying human languages and communication patterns. Their entertainment broadcasts have provided enough linguistic data for our translation computers to establish basic communication protocols. Park made his decision. Prepare a first contact transmission package. Include basic information about our species, our location in the galaxy, and our peaceful intentions. Make it clear that we have observed their creativity and imagination with great interest. What should we tell them about their entertainment programs? Asked Hygiene. Park smiled, the first time he had done so since arriving at Earth. Tell them that we have been watching their children's dreams of exploring the stars, and we would like to help make those dreams come true. The crew worked for hours preparing the transmission. They included scientific data about Zelathi civilization, images of their homeworld and other species in the Confederation, and explanations of faster-than-light travel and galactic communication networks. Transmission ready, Commander, announced Communications Officer Yang Su-bin. Park took a deep breath and activated the communication array. People of Earth, he began, this is Commander Park Jin-woo of the Zelathi Confederation. We have been observing your world and have been amazed by your remarkable capacity for imagination and creativity. Your children dream of exploring space, meeting alien civilizations and joining a larger community among the stars. We are here to tell you that such a community already exists, and we would be honored to welcome humanity as our newest members. We have watched your stories of friendship, cooperation, and peaceful exploration. These same values guide our own civilization and the galactic community we represent. If you are ready to take your first steps into the larger universe, we are ready to help you begin that journey. As the transmission traveled across space toward Earth, Park wondered what humanity's response would be to learning that their wildest dreams were about to become reality.